Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the America Sports Connection. I'm your host, the one and only Joey Railroads. My special guest tonight is one half of the Storm of Entrails. You might know him as the Big Scare, Mr. Dan O'Hare. Dan, how are you doing this evening?
Great. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, usually the token question we get when we get started here was, what are your first memories of professional wrestling?
Oh, man, Saturday morning WCW would be my first memories of professional wrestling. I started watching in like the early mid-90s. And, yeah, so, all their like Saturday morning stuff. I didn't actually go to a wrestling show until Survivor Series, like 95 or 6. Can't remember the year. But yeah, so, it was early 90s, classic WCW type stuff.
I vividly remember, and people laugh when I say this, the one thing I remember about those Saturday mornings was, I think it was the Yellow Dog when Brian Pillman was under the mask in the early 90s.
I don't remember that.
It was like really obscure, like they only did it for a little while, and it's weird how you remember some things like that.
True, yeah.
But was there anyone like you particularly liked back then?
Oh man, it's hard to say. I think that back then I couldn't really understand what was going on, like because I wasn't really like watching it hardcore at that point. I don't think I understood exactly what I was watching. So nobody, I remember maybe Hacksaw Jim Duggan stuck out to me a little bit at the time, just because of the gimmick and all that. And I seem to recall some episode of something where he got all bloodied up, and it scared the shit out of me. But I, for the life of me, I can't remember like what show it was or what event that was from or anything. So I have no idea. But yeah, I'd probably Hacksaw would be. Well,
that's cool, man, because Hacksaw's timeless.
Oh yeah, of course, man.
Now, when did you decide that you were going to get into business?
I was 32 years old in 2013, and that's when I decided to start training, which is a lot later than most people start, and you're going to have a shorter career, but I was fine with that, and I just decided to, give it a shot, see what happened. And, I was surprised I'm still here, to be quite honest with you. I considered quitting a lot that first year because it's pretty rough. A lot of people don't make it past the first year. Even like super in shape young people who I'm like totally jealous of. I'm like, oh, you guys suck. They're all in shape and handsome and shit. And then they don't last like 2 weeks. So you never know. You never know who's going to stick around. So I'm proud to say that I did. So.
Now, what was your training experience like?
Well, I first started going to a place called New Moon Rising, which ran in Deptford, I believe. They had their own little building in Deptford, and saw a couple small shows there and decided, yeah, this is the place I want to go. It seems pretty low-key, not the wrestler low-key, but, it seems pretty chill and, seemed like the right speed for, an out-of-shape 32-year-old dude at the time. But then they shut down like a month into my training, which I think I'd only been like I'd only been like 2 or 3 trainings or something. So I asked Joe Gacy, I'm like, hey man, where should I go? And he said, if you want to get good and you're serious about it, go to CZW. So I was like, all right. I was a little hesitant to do it because I didn't think I could hack it at CZW. Like I was under the impression that I'd be expected to be far more acrobatic and shit than I could be. But that wasn't entirely true. They do encourage you to do acrobatic shit, but you'd be surprised what you can make your body do with encouragement and training. So it was after all the right move to go to CZW.
Okay, cool. Now, how did the Storm of Entrails come about?
Well, I was training for a while and starting to have matches, and Schlack, who I've known for years doing music and stuff in the Philly area, he decided that he was going to start training too, and you know, he's actually a couple years older than me. He's not going to want me to say that, but he was. I think he was like, well, if Dan could do it, I could probably do it too. So he started training, and of course, Schlack is Schlack, so everybody loves his, his real life character. And because we were like friends, Drew Gulak, who was kind of involved with, some of the CZW booking, as well as running Dojo Wars at the time, he was like, "Yeah, you guys are a tag team," and I said, "That's cool. I'll tag with Schlack. That'll be awesome." And he's like, yeah, I need you guys to think of some band names because you're going to do I want you guys to do like a band. And I was like, okay, all right, like that's the gimmick, a band. He's like, think of names like Storm of Entrails. He's like, come up with stuff like that. That's like, it sounds metal and gross and crazy. And me and Schlack are like, all right. So we came up with like dozens of names. And some of the names we came up with were good, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to save this for bands I might do later." But we gave all the names to Drew, and he's like, "Nah, I don't like any of them. You're gonna be Storm of Entrails." I'm like, "All right, whatever, whatever you say, Drew."
That's funny.
So that was all Drew's doing, actually. So,
well, like you said, Schlack is Schlack. So, what is it actually like teaming with him?
What is it like teaming with Schlack? Well, we kind of have the same thought process when we go into a match, putting things together and trying to figure out, what to do. We're kind of on the same page about all that and how things should go. And I think our in-ring styles complement each other well. We're different enough so that, we're not just like carbon copies like a lot of tag teams are that you see out there. And our look is different enough so that we can each like be individuals in the ring, but also like remain, part of a team and, like a concrete thing that I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining.
No. I know exactly what you're saying. Now, do you prefer working tags or do you like singles more?
I like both. They both have their challenges. I would say it depends on who I'm wrestling and who I'm tagging with. It all depends, man. We did this, me and Schlack did this, it was like a year-long program down at Nova in Virginia, as well as CWF down in North Carolina, where we wrestled these two, 350-pound, 400-pound dudes, called the Sandwich Squad. And man, that was a rough year because we couldn't logistically do a lot of the stuff we were doing, as far as slamming people, and our finisher at the time was like this, it was an Alabama slam followed by a elbow drop, and you can't Alabama slam a dude who's twice the size and huge, just massive. So that was kind of a good learning experience because we learned how to do stuff without relying on our moveset, so to speak. So that's the kind of stuff that you don't really get when you're doing just a singles program. So it's like a whole different aspect of wrestling that you have to learn within the tag team, structure. But then you're given this whole different set of, challenges when you're working with guys that you can't do your normal stuff with. So, Yeah, everything has its challenges. Everything a little different. I don't mind doing either. I like doing both. So whatever people throw at me is what I'll do.
All right, well, that's cool. Jim in our chat actually wants to know, Dan, is there one spot in wrestling that you've thought twice about doing?
Yeah, the weed whacker spot with Jimmy at TOD.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. That was Jimmy's idea. Jimmy's like, I want you to hit me with a weed whacker. And I'm like, I don't want to hit you with a weed whacker, man. That doesn't, like, you don't have, like, a feud going. It doesn't make sense. Like, why would we just, like, he's like, come on, man. I want to do it. Come on. I'm like, ah. But, and he's like, no, I want to do it. I'm like, fine. So, yeah, I was like, really don't want to do it. But then after we did it, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm glad we did that. That's fine.
Dude, because it was so cool when you did that spot and then you like held it over your head like it was like a trophy or something that you won. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Other people have killed the weed whacker way more than we have, so I'm not worried about it. It's fine.
Yeah. Now, this past Saturday, you were actually in a triple threat match with The Awakening and FMW stars Hideki Hosaka and Raijin Yaguchi. What was that like, kind of like a moment for you wrestling those guys that came over from FMW?
Oh, dude, that was pretty awesome, man. And, I feel pretty honored to be able to have been in that spot and be able to wrestle guys that flew all the way over from Japan just for one show. So I was really psyched about doing it, and those guys were totally cool. And I think the match went pretty good. And I feel good about that whole match and everything that went into it, and I think everybody else did too. So yeah. Total A+ positive experience there.
I bet, man, and I give all the props in the world to Hosaka because not a lot of people know that he was wrestling with a broken jaw.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, it was on Twitter, I believe someone had posted it because I saw this like huge picture of him and he had like this thing on, this contraption on where you can't like talk. And apparently he had, like, broken his jaw in, like, 2 places.
Wow, I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
That's what I thought because, like, the only reason I knew also is at the meet and greet they had before the show, somebody, like, tried to talk to him, and he said, like, 2 words, and then he, like, pointed to his mouth.
Oh. Yeah, he was he was pretty quiet the whole time, with the discussion of everything. But yeah, that's wild, man. Wow. Yeah, I hope I didn't hit him in the jaw then because I didn't know. But anyway, yeah.
Are there any influences you have, Dan, that you use in the ring?
As far as like other
guys.
I try to copy stuff off of guys who are like my size. Or bigger. Guys like Bruiser Brody, just his like, stomping and just brawling style. I try to do some of that. Also like Stone Cold Steve Austin brawling and stuff like that. Because that it's hard to explain, but when you're in the confines of professional wrestling, doing a brawl thing is actually kind of difficult because it's like not really you're outside the ring and you don't have the positioning and stuff that you would normally have in the ring, and it's a little more free form. So it's actually brawling is kind of a challenge when it comes to performing a match. So I like to kind of watch guys like that are similar size to me or larger, and see what they do in those, brawling type circumstances, and just try to morph what I do to fit that kind of thing,
No, that's cool. Lance from Canada in our chat wants to know, who would you like to wrestle, if it's possible, anyone in time, on a one-on-one or in a tag?
So any wrestler, dead or alive, ever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I would probably have to say, probably Sabu in the mid-90s.
That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that would be the best.
That's awesome. Now,
really anybody though. I'll wrestle anybody. You know, there's a ton of guys who are retired or dead that I'd love to wrestle. So,
and he said anyone that you would want to wrestle in a tag.
In a tag, I want to wrestle the Steiner brothers in a tag.
That would be interesting.
The Steiner brothers or Meng and the Barbarian.
Oh God, you and Schlack against Meng and Barbarian.
That would be epic. That would be great.
I would like the meme they have that goes around, "Shut up and take my money."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel on that one.
Yeah, somebody book it. We'll be there.
Now, to change gears a little bit, Dan, you, if people don't know, are a little bit musically inclined. What were your first memories of, with music when you were growing up?
Growing up, I was always into the same music my parents were listening to, and it's actually Eric Clapton is what got me playing guitar. I was a huge Clapton fan and a Queen fan, so Eric Clapton and Brian May are my two guitar idols of all time, probably. So I've been playing guitar since I was in 6th grade, and yeah, I actually haven't picked up the guitar in probably 3 weeks. I should probably do that at some point. But yeah, those guys were my influences, and I never stopped.
Now, how did it come about? Was it because of them that you started playing guitar?
Yeah, pretty much. Just decided that that's something I need to do. I need to play guitar, and I became totally immersed in it and obsessed with it. Which is kind of what you have to do if you want to get good at something. Okay,
now how did it start that you started playing in bands?
You always try to, when you're younger, you try to get bands together, and it's often kind of hard because people are flaky and all types of shit. But I actually didn't play in bands for a long time and started to get more into the audio recording portion of music, which I did for a few years. And then in 2007, one of the bands I had recorded asked me if I wanted to fill in on guitar for a European tour, and I was like, hell yeah, of course. So I went on tour with that band, which is Total Fucking Destruction, which is a 3-piece grindcore band out of Philly. So I went on that tour, and then afterwards, they were like, all right, well, I guess you're in the band now. So that was cool. So we did a bunch more shows, went to Japan, and did a second tour of Europe, and that was great. And then after that, the drummer's other band, Brutal Truth, needed a guitarist, and so they tapped me for that. So I played in Brutal Truth for 3 years before the band finally disbanded for good at the end of 2014. So that's my musical career in a nutshell.
Now, if you didn't follow through with wrestling, do you think you'd still be in a band, some band, or doing some form of music?
Oh, absolutely. I still play in Total Fucking Destruction, but we're slightly less active nowadays. Everybody's busy with their respective stuff, me with wrestling and all that junk. So, yeah, but we're still playing. We've got a whole bunch of new music that's been recorded and it's being mixed right now. So yeah, of course, I'll never stop playing music. Someday I'll stop wrestling, but I'll never stop playing music.
That's awesome. What are you listening to right now?
Right now.
Well, not specifically right now, but like, you know.
Right. I'd say on the metal side, I've been listening to a lot of Cannibal Corpse.
Okay.
Which is kind of new for me. I never liked them before, but I just got into them like last year. Finally, I finally kind of like got it, and I was like, oh, okay. So I've just been listening to Cannibal Corpse like nonstop for a year. But I'm also, for some reason, I've learned that being stuck in traffic and having like a horrible commute every day, it's made a lot better if you crank 90s West Coast rap. So I've been listening to a lot of West Coast hip hop from like 93 to 2004.
That's great.
Lately. So yeah. So my music tastes are all over the place these days.
I've been actually recently, because they just dropped a single, even though I'm not like, their newer stuff isn't the best. I've been listening to Arch Enemy's stuff, even though I like it better when they had the other singer, the other girl singer, not who they currently have.
Yeah.
Because I actually
was a big fan of Arch Enemy for a while.
Yeah, from like back in the day when Angela Gasso was first there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they.
What's that?
I was gonna say, I don't think Arch Enemy ever put out their like quintessential record. I thought every record they always did there was something not quite right about it.
No, I agree with you. There was like they had all this talent, but it just never kind of like really clicked.
Yeah.
That's like the only way I can explain
what are you gonna do? Yeah.
All right. You'll get a kick out of this. Jim in the chat said that he popped for you talking about West Coast rap.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Now,
West Coast rap is
what he also wants to know, Dan, is if you could change one stereotype of deathmatch wrestling, what would it be?
I don't know if I'd want to change any stereotype about deathmatch wrestling. because it's the stereotypes which get people to want to see it, and it's the stereotypes that get people to keep coming back. You know, people want to see. You know, there's psychology to deathmatch wrestling, of course, but what gets people in the door, their first experience with deathmatch wrestling, is they want to see totally insane people get bashed and bloody and fly through glass and shit. I mean, that's, you know, so whenever you see like a compilation of deathmatch spots on the internet, like just somebody's, you know, non-wrestling related websites or Facebook pages or whatever are sharing like compilations of deathmatch spots, and they're like, oh, holy shit, look at these crazy guys.
Look at these idiots.
Look at the comments on those, like all non-wrestling fans who've never seen anything like that are commenting like, holy shit, these guys are fucking nuts. And, you know, so I don't know if I'd want to change any, you know, preconceived notions of it, because, you know, that's what fucking gets people interested in it.
Yeah. What happened for me was years ago, I don't know if you were in the area at this time, it was the early 2000s. CZW used to be on television in the like New Jersey, Philly area at like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then, this was when they wrestled at the old indoor soccer field in Sewell.
Yeah.
So I was like, and I would watch it, I was like, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it was just, you know, it was so interesting, you couldn't help but watch, you know what I mean?
Exactly, that's the whole point.
Now, I actually put up on social media earlier today, if anybody wanted to ask you anything, I actually got a couple questions for you.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. Frankie Santiago wants to know, whose idea was it to use doors?
That's a Schlack idea. because Schlack is in a band called Eat the Turnbuckle, which is a wrestling-related band. I don't know if you've ever heard of them or heard them, but check them out. Yeah, they rule. They're awesome. So during their shows, they fuck each other up with wrestling-related moves, and they usually have some kind of spot where somebody goes through a table or something like that, or So somewhere along the lines, I think from one of Schlack's older bands that used to fight each other as well on stage, they determined that that doors are cheaper than because tables are like $100 to $120. They're not, you got to sell 5 or 6 tickets to a wrestling show just to afford a table. Like most of the wrestlers on the card aren't getting paid as much as that fucking table costs. So, they just, Schlack's band decided, hey, let's just, when we go on tour, part of our rider will include that, hey, we need a table or we need a door from Home Depot or whatever. And so that's what they'd use every night on tour because, the club owners would be like, all right, I'll just go get a, $30 door or whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could get them like 25 sometimes at Lowe's.
Yeah, the cheapest I've got them for is like 29 and change. But anyway, yeah, that's so that's a Schlack thing. He brought that in. Other guys have used them previously. I think some guys in North Jersey want to take credit for it. Who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to stop using tables for certain things. But the door is I don't know. The door
I was going to say,
man.
It's cheaper and it's probably easier accessible, like to find.
Yeah, it's easier to clean up, easier to transport. It's not quite as like robust, like I don't know if I want to take a scaffolding bump to the floor through a single door. That would not be something I'd like to do. But,
yeah.
There's a time and a place for it, and we'll always make it work.
No, I agree with you. John Campbell wants to know, what is the most memorable match that you remember this far in your career?
The most memorable match probably was the one at last December at the Dojo Wars Mega Show right before Cage of Death, where I wrestled Schlack in a dog collar match.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite match that I've done. Yeah, I think me and Schlack worked well together, and we really just wanted to go out and beat the shit out of each other and bleed all over the place. And yeah, I think it worked out pretty well.
Dude, I loved it that you both came out to your music like together.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was awesome. I'm just like, only these two would do this.
Well, the whole idea that it was like friendly competition, and we love beating the shit out of people, so let's just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
That's the whole.
Kind of like what Demolition did back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that part just made me laugh because that's what I had remembered. You'll get a kick out of this next one. Lyle Williams wants me to ask you, he goes, "Hey Dan, why are you so freaking awesome?"
I'm not, but thank you, Lyle. Quick thing about Lyle. He took a great picture of me a few weeks ago after a Dojo Wars show. It was a great picture, man. But there was a giant booger hanging out of my nose and somehow like slimed up the side of my nose.
Oh,
which
no!
I didn't know I had at the time. And he was like, "Check this out." I was like, "Oh shit! Thanks for catching that." That could have ended up on the internet. So yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, Lyle's the man. Lyle rules.
Nah, he's a cool dude. Jim wants to know, what's the worst injury you've had so far in your career?
In terms of like serious injury, I've had concussions, a couple of which were fairly bad that I probably should have gone to the hospital for, but didn't. But you know, I haven't broken anything yet. Sprained my ankle super bad when Jimmy Lloyd fell on it once. That sucked.
Ow.
But yeah, thankfully nothing too wild yet. So,
especially considering the shit you're doing.
Yeah, true. Connor Claxton blew my eardrum out once, which super pissed me off. Yeah, that super pissed me off. But that's cool. That's cool. I'll let it slide, Connor. Fucker.
Oh,
anyway.
that sounds really fucking painful.
Yeah, it sucked. I was deaf in one ear for probably 3 weeks before it started to grow back. But yeah, it sucked. So I don't recommend it. But shit happens.
Now, what does the future hold for the Big Scare?
I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing and see what happens, man. You know. As far as wrestling goes, I'm just gonna keep right on working hard, and fucking lifting weights, and just getting as many opportunities as I can to be fucking violent and make the crowd understand that I deserve to be at CZW. So that's my goal in wrestling. When I started wrestling, my goal was work a CZW show, and once I did that, a whole new set of goals opened up for me. So I have, I have some things to accomplish. So keep working towards it, and hopefully good things will fall into line.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if people want to get a hold of you on social media, how can they reach you?
Hit me up on Facebook is my preferred method of contact. Just type in Dan O'Hare and look for the bloody guy or the guy with the guitar. That's me. And on Twitter, I'm at O'Hare Scare. Hit me up on Twitter as well. I don't understand Instagram or Snapchat because I'm a 36-year-old man and I just don't understand things. So I don't use those.
Don't feel bad. I don't have them either.
Yeah.
I was like, Facebook and Twitter is all you're going to get out of me. I'm not doing Instagram and Snapchat and all this other bullshit.
Exactly.
Because I feel your pain, because I'm 34 and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. My brain is full of other shit. I can't learn multiple social media things. It's too much shit, man.
I hear you, man. All right, well, I just want to personally thank you for taking the time to hop on and have a little chat with us about your career.
All right, thanks, brother. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to get out of here for today, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, give it a thumbs up, all that shit, and we'll see you back next time. Have a good night, everybody.